Free Bird, by Luca Sanchez. Eddie, the emu, lived on a farm in Kegg County. It was where he spent his days scratching and pecking at the dirt, chasing after delectable bugs, and he habitually charged at the female farmhand who he liked to show dominance over. He despised her for no reason at all. She was just there and needed to be kept on her toes. She would wave him off, and he would cede, only to plot his next attack. Another angle, then, his walnut-sized brain would surmise. Messing with her was a delightful morning, noon, and night routine. Today though, Eddie had a plan. He would escape this stockade. He would go beyond the walls of his confinement and see what was out there. After all, this place was all he had ever known. Eddie had enough of this mundane experience and decided it was time for a venture forth to new horizons. Someone had left the feed trough close enough to the wooden wall that he could use it as a stepping stone. He surveyed the fence holding him in the pen, and mentally gauged how much distance and speed it would take him to be able to clear the top of it. He couldn't fly like the small ones, but he might be able to get a little lift if he flapped his wings. Okay, let's do it, he thought. He got a running start and used his powerful legs to pounce on the trough, and he propelled himself towards the top of the fence, flapping as hard as he could. He had just enough lift to take him over. With one foot catching the top, he was up and over. He then thrust himself and down into green grass. His first instinct was to run as fast as he could away from here, before his escape was discovered. At first, Eddie was thrilled to be free and enjoyed the feeling of the wind in his feathers. But soon, he realized that he was lost and had no idea where he was going. He began to panic and ran even faster, eventually coming to a busy intersection where he stopped in the middle of traffic. These large metal things confused him. He caused cars to swerve to avoid him, and there were honks and people exclaiming things such as, "Stupid bird." A few people began getting out of their cars and tried to catch Eddie, but he was too quick and managed to evade them with ease. He also decided to charge at them, like he did the female farmhand. The intersection soon became chaos. Almost immediately the Kegg County Sheriff's Department was called, and they received reports of a wild emu running amok on the street. Not 3 minutes passed that 5 police cars suddenly descended on his location, and Eddie knew it was time to fly the coop. The police officers quickly sprang into action. They got out of their cars and tried to tase Eddie, but to no avail, as the barbs just bounced off his lush feathers. Spooked by the commotion though, he scrambled to take off running again. And shortly Kegg County's first emu police chase ensued. Eddie took off at about 25 miles per hour, and at that slow pace the patrol cars followed him with blue lights spinning, and their sirens blaring. Eddie was not intimidated by the sirens, but instead, he seemed to relish in the attention. All of a sudden, as he ran, he started doing a little prance to show he was too amazing for them to be able to catch him. This was a great adventure, he thought. Suddenly the sheriff of Kegg County, Dusty Street, had a bright idea, and decided to drive ahead of Eddie. He got about 90 feet in front of the large bird and threw out a spike strip. Surely that would slow the bird down, but as soon as Eddie approached it, he just jumped over it, shocking the bewildered lawman. To which Sheriff Street said, "What? That always worked on TV, now." The chase went on for hours. It was broadcasted live on Kegg Channel 6, and the police helicopter made sure to keep a fixed camera view on Eddie, at all times, as he darted through neighborhoods and across fields. The bird's determination seemed boundless. Eddie was sure he could find sanctuary if he could just evade these miscreants. The people at home watched with amazement as the drama played out. Some even called in the police tip hotline, that the bird was in their yard. However, all good things must come to an end. While the police officers tried to keep up with him, eventually, Eddie began to tire, and his adventurous spirit was depleted. He was hot, starting to pant, and then he saw his respite. There was a public pool, with a lot of these mammals in it, and exhausted, he found his second wind only to pounce one more time over a fence, this time chain link, and he landed in the swimming pool, cooled off but exhausted. It was time to give in. The police cornered him and 5 men slowly but forcefully pulled him out of the water. An animal control officer came in and sedated Eddie, and the next thing he remembered was he was yet again back in his stockade, but was thankful for both having the adventure and that he was safe. Then he saw the female farmhand, and he was ready to charge her again. From that day on, Eddie became somewhat of a local celebrity. Many wanted to have their selfies taken with him, and he still enjoyed his occasional escape attempts, which always resulted in yet another epic police chase.